Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good morning, everybody, and good evening, everybody. Today, our discussion is going to be a brand new topic in the discussion of ultimate realities in the Abhidhamma, which is rūpa, and we call it material phenomena. And there are 28 material phenomena. And because, rūpas any rūpa can't act alone. Rūpa has to be a part of a rūpa combination, which we call the grouping of rūpas, which we understand in Pali by rūpakalāpa. So we're going to be looking at both individual 28 rūpas plus 21 rūpakalāpas. Let's take a look. And in today's discussion, I'm going to be very, attentive to the time because we have a lot of things to talk about. But don't worry, you need to understand what a rūpa is and how rūpas, how rūpas employ in a group. I would say rūpakalāpa. Now, for example, I would say if you take this pen is made of 8 suddhatakas, right? We call it the pure octet, Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu, Vanna, Gandha, Rasa, Oja. So these are the minute, I would say, the smallest particles we can see in the Abhidhamma. So you can't, break these 8 into further, particles. So because individual rūpas, I would say, Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu, Vanna, Gandha, Rasa, Oja can't work alone, can't act alone, because they have to be a combination. So we call it the smallest combination to be rūpakalāpa, to be a suddhataka. We call it a pure octet. We have another word for that in Pali, ojattamaka. So ojattamaka means ahara, because this is the end of the this is the last particle that we see in the suddhatakas. We're going to be talking all that. So stay tuned. So the first thing, let me see. I'm going to be showing you is material phenomena, the rūpas. In other words, people also call it matter, but I would take it by material phenomena, 28 rūpas. Okay. According to the Abhidhamma, Rupa is one of the ultimate realities, although it's subject to tilakkana. So even though Rupa is an ultimate, reality, but Paramattha Dhamma, but it is not exempt from the characteristics of Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta, which you know, which are common to all the phenomena in the world. When a Rupa becomes a combination, as I told you, Rupa can't act alone. Rupa has to be a combination to act. The smallest combination is, we call it by suddhataka, the pure octet. When a Rupa becomes a combination, rūpakalāpa, they arise together, have a common basis, and perish together, which is the same we saw with the Chitta and Chaitasikas, right? In the ultimate sense, Rupa is formless, shapeless, and massless, just as energy is. Now, Dhamma friends, when it comes to the suddhataka, the smallest combination in the rūpakalāpa, you won't see these 8, in separate forms. Now, if you take back this particular pen, we know this is Patavi, but we don't see the Apo. We will see Tejo a little bit when you keep writing with this pen. You can feel like kind of a heat. And what about Vayu? Yes, I mean, you can sort of look into the pen and you can see that the ink sort of like flows through. And what about Vanna? Yes, we can see Vanna. Gandha, I mean, you can smell it, but you won't smell like a pen. And rasa, you don't see rasa, you don't see oja. Sorry, oja means nutriment. So you don't see oja and rasa, because we don't want to go into that details of a particular the smallest combination, rūpakalāpa. So what I'm trying to say is that when the rupa is in ultimate form, it is formless, massless, like the energy. You won't see energy as much as you get benefited from energy. Okay, but when it is with more than 8 rupas, you would see it. You would get a better sense of that rupa, right? But when it comes to the smallest combination, rupa combination, what you call by rūpakalāpa, you will see that it is formless, shapeless, and you won't see those technical things as much as you see when it is with more than 8. But you could see some rupas, but not the whole minute, the smallest level of rupas. Okay. And when it comes to the time, rupa has a very short time, so short life. Rupa is not different from the realities of the world, like the characteristics called rūpa, anicca dukkha anatta. Rupa has a very short life, only experiences 17 chitta moments. So rupa stays only for 17 chitta moments, and then rupa has to arise again. So they are not permanent. Chittas cannot operate without the support of. So now you understand the relationship between rupa and chitta. So chittas cannot function without the support of rupa, because rupa creates an interface for chittas to arise, exist, and to perish away. So I think the benefit, the advantage of chittas towards the rupa, and the rupas towards the chitta, they are interconnected. They are so much interconnected, interwoven, and they are benefiting each other. So none of the sides cannot operate alone. So they have to depend on the both. So chitta has to depend on rupa, rupa has to depend on the chitta, mostly. But mostly they say some rupas you can see you don't need any kind of a mental combination, but basically they can mostly operate without the support of rupa, and the vice versa. Therefore, rupa acts as a base for chittas to arise, function, and perish away. Rupa derives from a verb called rupati. Rupati is a Pali verb, which is to deform, disturb. When it comes to the Abhidhamma context, rupa means deformed by cold, heat, hunger, thirst, and any other obstruction. Now, what does it mean? It means rupa is always subject to changes. It could be heat. It could be. I would say solidity. It could be motion. It could be temperature. It could be heat. It could be whatever changes that can be seen in the society, in the environment. They are affecting the rupa, the nature of the rupa. Generally, the most popular classification of rupa is the first 4 out of 28 rupas. As we know, there are 28 rupas. The fundamental, generic classification of rupa is there are 4 great essentials, what we call by Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu, the great, what we call by Mahabhuta rupas, and the rest is called 24 rupas. They are called Upadaya rupas. They derive from the Mahabhuta rupas. Generally, the most popular classification of rupa is the first 4 out of 28 rupas. This is Mahabhuta rupa or Bhuta rupas. The rest of the 24 is Upadaya rupas because they derive from those 4. This means that they are derivatives of the Mahabhuta rupas. And now we come to the most textualized or popular classification of the rupa. This is what we call by concretely produce matters. Concretely produce rūpa and non-concretely produce rūpa. Now you can see here, the concretely produce rūpa matters, non-concretely produce matters or material phenomena. Now this is the most used classification that we can see in the books like Abhidhamma Sangaha. Now what's the difference between these two? The concretely produced matters, rūpa, which mean that rūpas which possess the intrinsic nature and are eligible to be used for contemplation and comprehension by insight vipassana. Now, Dhamma friends, now these 18, the first 18, they are said to be rūpas which possess the intrinsic nature, sabhava, and they are the ones who are been recommended for somebody to contemplate or to use for vipassana. Now if you want to practice vipassana, you can only take these 18 and not the rest of the 10, because non-concretely produced matters mean the rūpas that are more abstract in nature, because they are more abstract. You can't see a technical kind of a technical image of those 10. So then there is a difference. You can see the intrinsic nature of rūpa when it comes to the first 18. We call it concretely produced rūpa. The rest of the 10, we don't recommend those 10 for the meditation on vipassana, because they are more abstract in nature. You can't see a technical image. There is something very important I want to tell you before I explain each rūpa. Rūpa is not found in isolation. As I told you, they can act, any rūpa can act in isolation. Rūpa always appears with other rūpas as a group. We call it a rūpakalāpa. The reason is because without knowing how individual rūpas combine by forming 21 rūpakalāpa groups, because you know now there are 21 rūpa combinations, we call them rūpakalāpas, you won't be able to fully understand the rūpa analysis in the Abhidhamma. So if you don't understand 21 rūpakalāpas, you will never understand the analysis of the rūpa, because just by knowing what the 28 rūpas will not take you to the full understanding of the rūpa, because you must understand how these 28 rūpas employ as combinations, rūpakalāpas. There are 21. Okay. Now you can see these two concretely produced matters. There are 18. Mahabhuta Rūpa, the number is 4. Pasada Rūpa, there are 4 rūpas. Gochara Rūpa, there are 4 rūpas. Bhava Rūpa, there are 2 rūpas. Hadevat Rūpa, there is 1 rūpa. Jivita Rūpa, there is 1 rūpa. Ahara Oja, there is 1 rūpa. When it comes to non-concretely produced matter, there are 10 rūpas. Paricheda Rūpa, there's 1 rūpa. There are 2 for Viññati. We call Viññati Rūpa has 2 rūpas. Vikara Rūpa has 3. Lakkana Rūpa has 4. Don't worry, and I'm going to be explaining what they are and individual classifications, characteristics and all that, as we did in the past slides in other Abhidhamma lessons. So now we call the concretely produced matter as Nippanna Rūpa in the Abhidhamma. You can see Mahabhuta Rūpa, great essentials. Pasada Rūpa means sensitive phenomena. Gochara Rūpa means objective phenomena. Bhava Rūpa means sexual phenomena. Hadevata Rūpa means heart phenomenon. Jivita Rūpa means life phenomenon. Ahara Rūpa or Oja means nutritional phenomenon. When it comes to non-concretely produced matter, we call it Anippanna Rūpa. That's the exact Pali Abhidhamma textual word. There are 4, which has 10. Paricheda Rūpa means limiting phenomenon, which means Akasa Dhatu. Viññati Rūpa means communicating phenomena. Vikara Rūpa means mutable phenomena. Lakkana Rūpa means characteristics of general Rūpa. Now come to the Mahabhuta Rūpa, essential material phenomena or great essentials. There are 4. Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu. Patavi means the elemental quality of extension. Now in Pali we call it Kakkala and Mudu. Kakkala is hardness, Mudu is softness. So any quality between hardness to softness. Kakkala means hardness, mudu is softness. Any quality between, ranging between hardness to softness. Apo means elemental quality of cohesion. Any quality between abandhanam, paggaranam, which means cohesion to liquidity. Teja Dhatu means elemental quality of heat energy, any quality between ranging between hotness to coldness. It is not just the hotness, but also coldness and the qualities between these two ranging. Vayu Dhatu means elemental quality of kinetic energy, which means any quality between Vithambanang and Samudiranang, which you call pressure or resistance, between pressure or resistance and movement. So any quality between these two called Vayu. Friends, keep in mind, these are the very important four qualities in the Rupa analysis. Pasada Rupa, sensitive material phenomena. Chakku Pasada, Sota Pasada, Gahana Pasada, Jivha Pasada, Kaya Pasada. So it is not Chakku, not Sota, not Gahana, not Jivha, not Kaya. It is Chakku Pasada, Sota Pasada, Gahana Pasada, Jivha Pasada, Kaya Pasada, which means there's a sensitive matter of eye. Sensitive matter. So sensitive matter of these five faculties. The thing is that without this sensitive matter, any sense-based consciousness consciousnesses would not arise. So let's say eye consciousness arises simply because of Chakku Pasada. Chakku Pasada is inside the Chakku. Sota Pasada is inside the Sota. I mean, ear. Gana is inside nose. Jivha is inside tongue. Kaya is inside body. So because there is this pasada nature, sensitive nature of that particular sense faculty, eye consciousness, all the consciousness types, they are arising. Gochara Rupa means objective side, matter phenomena. One Saddha Gandha Rasa, visible form, sound, smell, taste. But you have to understand there are three more Gochara Rupas, but they are not mentioned because they are part of great essentials, Mahabhuta Rupas. So when you talk about Gochara Rupa, there are 7. Because these three are given in the Mahabhuta Rupas. See, Patavi, Tejo, Vayu. Tangibility, 3 elements, earth, fire, air. So, one Saddha Gandha Rasa, visible form, sound, smell, taste, earth, fire, and air. So, they are 7. Bhava means material phenomena of sex. Pumbhava, Purisabhava, which means male sexuality, which you call matter of masculinity. Itibhava means matter of femininity. Why we were born as males and females. So that this is what it talks about in the Abhidhamma Rupa analysis. Hadevatu means material phenomenon of the heart. Hadevatu. This has a lot of discussions, but basically it says Hadevatu is something which is which has spread in the blood inside your heart, and it's a seat of Mano Vinyan and Mano Dhatu. And don't think that Hadevatu is one place. Hadevatu is not one. There are billions of Hadevatu spread inside the blood of your heart. Right? So Hadevatu is like that. Jivita Rupa is the most important one. When it comes to the vitality, we call the life faculty, because this is where you understand the vitality of the body. Because there is another vitality of the mind that is under one of the Chetasikas, which you call Jivitendriya. So the vitality of your psychic mind is psychic aspect is Jivitendriya, which comes under Sampajita Sadharana, and the vitality of your physical aspect is Jivita Rupa, which you call here the life faculty. Ahara means edible food you take. Paricheda Rupa means limiting material phenomenon, because Akasa Dhatu, you know that Akasa Dhatu means any Rupa can exist without a space. So what happens with Paricheda Rupa or Akasa Dhatu is there is an interatomic or intra-atomic space that limit or separate the rūpakalāpas. Let's say if I bring back the same pen, now you can see that there is a lot of space, right? So that space limits the strength of this pen because of the space. So the space space is taken as akasa dhatu, which is also a rūpa. So what space does is akasa dhatu does is it limits the rūpakalāpas. Viññāti rūpa means kaya viññāti, vaci viññāti, bodily intimation and vocal intimation. So viññāti intimation means the ways of expressions, the bodily expressions and verbal expressions. So when you trying to express yourself both by body and by speech, then that means viññātis. Vikara rūpa means mutable material phenomena, which means, in other words, I would say, the rūpas, they are likely to change. That is why we call it mutable. There are three: rūpa salahuta, muduta, kamanyata. So any nature of lightness in your rūpa, any nature of lightness of the malleability, any nature of wieldiness of rūpa, they are called vikara rūpas because they are likely to change. It is also said that the two intimations, these two, kaya viññāti and vaci viññāti, also considered to be part of the vikara rūpa. So then they're gonna be 5 vikara, but currently we're gonna say there are 3 vikara rūpas. Lakkana rūpa means the main 4 characteristics of any rūpa. There are 4: upachaya, santati, jarata, anicca. Upachaya means there is a production of the rūpa. Santati means there is a continuity of any rūpa. Jarata is there is a decay of any rūpa. Anicca is there is an impermanence of any rūpa. Now we go into individual descriptions of rūpas. Patavi dhatu characteristic is hardness to softness, any range. Acting as a foundation for the other primary elements and derived matter is the rasa. Receiving is manifestation. Other 3 great essentials means apo, tejo, vayu. They are the proximate reason. Apo dhatu, from cohesion to flowing, any range of cohesion to flowing or trickling or oozing, they are the characteristic of apo dhatu. To intensify the coexisting material states is the function. Holding together or cohesion of material phenomena is manifestation, and other 3 great essentials, which means patavi, tejo, vayu, they are the proximate reason. Tejo dhatu, any range that exists between hotness to coldness is the characteristic of tejo dhatu. To mature or ripen other material phenomena, other rūpas, is the function. Continuous supply of softness is manifestation. Other 3 great essential, which means patavi, apo, vayu, they are the proximate reason. Vayu dhatu, distension or any range quality between resisting or pushing to vibrating or moving is the characteristic of vayu dhatu. To cause motion in the other material phenomena is function. Conveyance to other places is manifestation. Other 3 great essentials, which mean patavi, apo, tejo, they are the proximate reason. Chakkuvattu. Now these 5, chakku, sota, gana, jivha, kaya, they go in the same way. So I'm gonna skip some of the descriptions because you can see these slides later. I'm gonna read the first one first. Sensitivity of the primary elements that is ready for the impact of visible data, or sensitivity of the primary elements springing from a desire to see is the characteristic. Pick up a visible datum as object is a function. Foundation of chakku viññāna or consciousness is the manifestation. Primary elements born from kamma, patavi, apo, tejo, vayu, any kamma, springing from a desire to see. So that's the proximate reason. The same thing. So desire to hear, pick up an audible datum as object is the function. Foundation of sota viññāna is ear consciousness is the manifestation, and primary elements born from kamma, springing from a desire to hear is the proximate reason. Same thing, desire to smell, ganavattu, pick up a smellable datum as object is the function. Foundation of nose consciousness or gana viññāna is the manifestation. Primary elements born from kamma, springing from a desire to smell is the proximate reason. Jivhavattu, the same thing. Desire to taste is a characteristic. Pick up a tastable datum as object, the rasa. Foundation of tongue consciousness called jivha viññāna is the manifestation. Primary elements born from a kamma, springing from a desire to taste is the proximate reason. Kaya is the same too, desire to touch. Pick up a tangible datum as object is the function. Foundation of body consciousness or kaya viññāna is the manifestation. primary elements born from karma springing from a desire to touch is a proximate reason. One. Now we move on to the objective phenomena side, which is called gochara rupa. So one, impinging on the eye is the characteristic. To be the objects of eye consciousness is the function. Resort of the chakku vinyana of eye consciousness is the manifestation. Four great essentials, Mahabhuta Rupas are the proximate reasons. Saddha, the same thing, impinging on the ear. To be the objects of ear consciousness is the function. Resort of the ear consciousness is the manifestation. Four great essentials is the proximate reason. Gandha, impinging on the nose is the characteristic. To be the objects of nose consciousness is the function. Resort of the nose consciousness. Gahana Vinyana is the manifestation. Four great essentials is the proximate reason. Rasa, the same thing, impinging on the tongue is a characteristic. To be the objects of tongue consciousness is a function. Resort of the tongue consciousness is the manifestation. And four great essentials of Mahabhuta Rupas are the proximate reason. Now we come into this interesting part, Pumbhava, which means Purisabhava. Characteristic is male sex. It is not the sex, sexuality of, sexuality as a male is a characteristic. The function is show masculinity. Manifestation is sexual structure of the body, because it says that both male and female rupas, if you are a woman, if you are a man, your masculinity normally spreads across your body. If you are a woman, your femininity spread across your body. So that's how it happens. So function is show masculinity. Sexual structure of the body is a manifestation. Proximate reason is karma. Itibhava, female sex, sexuality, or female sex is the characteristic, and showing the femininity is the function. Sexual structure of the body is a manifestation, and the proximate reason is karma. Hadevatu, being the support for the mind element and the mind consciousness element, knowing is a characteristic, because we know mano vinyana, mano dhatu, they are the seat of Hadevatu, and to uphold them or forerunning is a rasa or function of the Hadevatu. Carrying of these elements, continuous existence in consciousness, manodhatu, manovinyana is the manifestation. Mentality and materiality is proximate reason. Dhamma friends, you have to keep in mind, Buddhaghosa does not mention about a proximate reason for this, but Kassapa, in one of the books called, I guess, Mohacheda or something, in his book, he mentions mentality and materiality as proximate reason. Jivita Rupa, which means life faculty, maintaining the coexistent kinds of matter at the moment of their presence is the characteristic. To make them occur is a function. Establishment of their presence is manifestation. Mahabhuta Rupas is the proximate reason. Ahara, nutritive essence, is the characteristic. To sustain the physical body is a rasa. Fortifying of the body is manifestation. Gross edible food is proximate reason. Paricheda Rupa, which means Akasa Dhatu, delimiting matter. So it delimits, let's say if I take back this pen, you can see that it delimits the matter, because there is a lot of space outside, but the Rupa is very small when it comes to the Akasa Dhatu element. Go back. And to display the boundaries of matter is the function. Confines of matter or Rupa, or the state of gaps and apertures is the manifestation, and the matter delimited is the proximate reason. Don't worry, you can see these slides later, because I'm going to add these slides under the video. So don't worry, because I'm going to save my time to go into rūpakalāpa, because these are very simple to understand. Kaya viññāti, which means, bodily intimation, special modification in the consciousness originated air element, which causes the body to move in ways that reveal one's intentions is the characteristic. Displaying intention is the function. As a cause of bodily movement is manifestation. Air element is proximate reason. Vaci viññāti is the same thing. It's a special modification in the consciousness originated air element, which issues in speech by which one reveals one's intentions. You have to keep in mind, Vaci viññāti, Kaya viññāti, they have a direct influence from Akasa Dhatu. That's what we understand by air element here. And the function is displaying intention. As a course of verbal expression is manifestation. The earth element born of consciousness is approximate. Rupa lahuta, this is called the lightness stride, which starts from lahuta. Non-sluggishness is the characteristic. I had to change this. There's a small typo. Dispel. Come back. Dispel heaviness in matter is a function. Light transformability is a manifestation. Light matter is approximate reason. Non-rigidity is a characteristic of rupa mudita. Mudita means what you call malleability. Once again, I had to change. I had to correct the what you call typo. Rupa mudita. So non-rigidity is a characteristic. Dispel rigidity in matter is the function. Non-opposition to any kind of action is a manifestation. Malleable matter is approximate reason. And we come on to wieldiness, rupa manyata. So rupa, which is a part of lightness stride. Wieldiness is a characteristic. Dispel unwieldiness in matter is the function. Non-weakness is a manifestation. Wieldy matter is approximate reason. Upachaya, these are the four general characteristics of any rupa. Setting up is a characteristic. Make material instances emerge for the first time is the function. As launching or as the completed state is the manifestation. Matter produced is the approximate reason. Santati, occurrence is a characteristic. Santati means continuity. To anchor is the function. Non-interruption is the manifestation. Matter to be anchored is the approximate reason. Jarata means decay. So maturing or aging of material phenomena is a characteristic. To lead them on towards their termination is the function. Loss of newness without loss of being is a manifestation. Matter that's decaying is approximate reason. Anicchata, complete breaking up of material phenomena is the characteristic. To make them subside is the function. Destruction and falling away is the manifestation. Matter that's completely breaking up is the approximate reason. Okay, so this is what you need to understand about each rupas, descriptions of each rupa. I mean, you will be understanding them much better when you look again these slides, because I'm going to be putting them up on parts of the blog, and I'm going to put the link under the video. So we'll be moving on to the other descriptions of the rupa. Okay, so now you know what the rupa are. Now we are moving on to the classification of matter in different details, rupa vibhaga. Okay, now you can see even the rupa is single-fold. You can see rupa is single-fold under 8 perspectives in the following aspects. Rupas, any rupa is rootless, ahetuka. Rupa is sappachaya, which means rupa has conditions. Sasava, rupa is subject to defilement. Sankata, rupa is condition. Rupa is lokiya, rupa is mundane. Kamavachara, rupa is pertaining to the sense field. Anaramana, rupa is objectless. Appahatabba, rupa is not to be abandoned, because you can't abandon rupa until you die. But Dhamma friends, even you can see this single-foldedness, single-folded nature of rupa, but in different other contexts, you can see it is a manifold. Let's take a look at how they become manifold. Okay, however, rupas can be manifold under these special contexts. There are 9. Ajatika rupa. So the 5 pasada rupas, what are the pasada rupas? Let's go back. Let me show you the pasada rupas. Let's see if I can take back here. Okay, these are the these are the pasada rupas, right? Chakku, sota, gana, jivha, kaya, right? You can see what they are. Chakku, sota. Let me show you again. Pasada rupas are chakku, sota, gana, jivha, kaya. So Those are the 5 pasada rupas. So they are called ajjatika rupas. The rest of the rupas, 23, they are not internal. Ajjatika means internal rupas. So if you take only these 5 as ajjatika, the rest is not internal, the external. Vattu rupa means, vattu means bases. So the 5 pasada rupas, chakku, sota, gana, jivha, kaya, with hadevattu make up vattu rupa, which means they make up a base. So they are bases. So the rest of the rupas, which means 5 plus 1, 6, then how many? 22 rupas, they are not bases. Dwara rupa, there are, 5 pasada rupas and 2 vinyati, kaya vinyati, vachi vinyati, they make up dwara. Dwara means doors. They have doors, because they are taking objects from outside. Indriya rupa, which means there are faculties in 5 pasada rupas, and 2 bhava rupa, which means pumbhava, iti bhava, and jivita rupa. They are called as the 5, 2, 7, 8 faculties. Yeah, the rest are not faculties. Sappatika rupa means there are subtle rupas. How many of them? 5 pasada rupas and 7 sense objects, right? So they are sappatika, that means subtle. Upadina rupa means 18 kammaja rupas. All the rupas that rise from kamma, they are 18. So they are called upadina. Sanidasana rupa means 1. See, the only visible rupa is 1. So that is being taken as 1. The rest are not, can be used. Rest cannot be used. The rest cannot be used for visible, activity. Gocharaggahika rupa means all the rupas that can take objects. So the only 5 pasada rupas can be gocharaggahika rupa. But Dhamma friends, there is an interesting thing here. Chakku and sota, they are called asampatta gahaka rupa. That means you don't need to touch those objects. Like when I say your eyes, I mean the rupas from eyes, and then ear sound from your ears, at certain point. You don't need to touch them. But when it comes to what you call gana, jivha, kaya, what you call let me see again. Here, what you call gana, jivha, kaya, they are objects you need to touch. You need to touch those objects to feel them. But rupa and sada, you don't need to touch. That's why it says out of gocharaggahika rupas, the 5 rupas where you take objects, chakku and sota, you don't need to. When it comes to chakku and sota, you don't need to you don't need to touch those objects to experience them. Avini bhoga rupa means suddha, that is p-octad, which means so the rest are not avini bhoga rupas. So what do you call by the p-octad? Patavi apo tejo vayo, vanna gandha rasa oja, right? So they are avini bhoga. They are the inseparables. You can't break them into other particles. They are the minute. I wouldn't say they are the atoms, because they are more than atoms. So they are the minute, smallest versions of rupa. That's why they are called the 8 inseparables or avinibhoga rupa. Back to the slides. Okay, so the origination of matter. Okay, so the rupas arise from 4 reasons: kamma, chitta, utu, ahara. Kamma means kamma, chitta means consciousness, utu means temperature, ahara means food. Now you can see 25 types of kamma you had done in your past life. 12 akusala, 8 mahakusala, 5 rūpavachara. They are the 25 kammas which help arise the kamma cause by which the particular kammaja rupas arise, kammaja rupas create or construct. So because you have done 25 types of kamma in the past lives, either 12 akusalas or 8 mahakusalas or 5 rūpavacharas, you are having kammaja rupas. So rupas that are pertaining to kammas. Because you had 75 chittas, you are having rupas relate to which relate to chittaja, rūpas. Because of the hotness and coldness, you are having temperature-based rūpas, which is called by utuja chittas. Utuja rūpas. Because you are experiencing internal and external, nutrimental elements of any rūpakalapas, then you are having aharaja rūpa. So they are particularly relevant to this life. Utu and aharaja relevant to this life, basically. So you can have chitta, but kamma is basically from past lives. We call it rūpa samuttana. Okay, how do the rūpas originate? Okay, now you can see there are different types of rūpas. Ekaja rūpa, that means rūpa produced by a single course. Dvija rūpa, rūpa produced by 2 courses. Tija rūpa, rūpa produced by 3 courses. Chatuja rūpa, rūpa produced by 4 courses. Anekaja rūpa, rūpa produced by more than 1 or many courses. So what are the examples? 8 faculties, heart, base, and 2 intimation. 5 pasada rūpas, and pumbhava and ittibhava, that means sexual, 2 sexual elements, and the heart base. So they are called 8 faculties, and 2 intimations called kaya vinyati, vachi vinyati. Dvija rūpa means sound, because sound has to rise from 2 courses. And Trija rūpa means lightness triad. Rūpasa lahuta mudita khamanya. They have to be they have to be arisen from 3 courses. And chatuja rūpa, which means these rūpas have to be caused by 4 courses, 8 inseparables and space, akasadhatu. Anekaja rūpa, the example for anekaja rūpa is triple qualities from chitta, utu, ahara. Okay, so chitta, utu, ahara, there are different, triple qualities of these 3 elements. And the 4 characteristics, which you call, upachaya, santati, jarata, anicchata, they don't have any cause. Okay, the last 4 derivatives are called underupadaya rūpas. Okay, here is a good overview of these examples. 18 rūpakalapas, 15 chitta 18 rūpakalapas come from kamma, 15 rūpakalapas come from chitta, 13 rūpakalapas come from utu, 12 rūpakalapas come from ahara. Now, friends, you have to understand rūpakalapas means rūpa combination. So 18 rūpa combinations come from kamma. 15 rūpa combinations of rūpakalapas come from chitta. 13 rūpa combinations of rūpakalapas come from utu. 12 rūpakalapas of rūpa combinations come from ahara. Now you can see what they are here. Okay. Now I'm gonna share with you what are the exact rūpakalapas which originate from kamma. There are 9. You can see chakku dasaka, sota dasaka, ghana dasaka, jivha dasaka, kaya dasaka, ittibhava dasaka, pumbhava dasaka, hadaya dasaka, jivita namaka. Now, friends, you have to understand dasaka is a rūpakalāpa which has 10 rūpas. So the first kammaja rūpakalāpa, which is called kammaja rūpakalāpa, has 10 rūpakalapas, rūpas. So which has 10 rūpas, and that makes up the chakku dasaka, 8 suddhatakas, which is called the pure octet. Patavi apo, see in here, Patavi apo tejo vayo 4, vanna gandha rasa oja 4. So they are called the pure octet. In English we call 8 inseparables, plus jivita rūpa. Jivita rūpa is with all the rūpakalapas, because without jivita rūpa you can't have any kammaja rūpas. Plus chakku pasada, sensitive matter of your eye. Sota, the same thing, sota pasada. Ghana, what you can see in addition is ghana pasada. Jivha pasada. Kaya pasada. Ittibhava dasaka. So how do we define someone becoming a woman? 8 inseparable pure octet, jivita rūpa and ittibhava rūpa, sexuality, female sexuality. How do we define a man? Pumbava dasaka, 8 inseparables, or called 8, inseparable. So the pure cat plus Jivita Rupa plus Pumbava Rupa, male sexuality. And these two individually spreading across the whole body. Okay, there is no, it is not with one female organ or with a body part. When you say a man or a woman, you can't say this is the main thing that we identify him or her as a woman or man. In Abhidhamma, it says when it comes to a woman, what do you call this? The female sexual sex is 100% spreading across the whole body. When it comes to Pumbava, the male sexuality spreads over everywhere in the body. So you can't single out, this is the place where this man's male sexuality or this woman's female sexuality. That's what Abhidhamma says. And 8.1, Hade Dasaka, 8, which means Suddhataka, 8 Suddhataka, Jivita Rupa Hadeva. But when it comes to Jivita Namaka, it has only 9. The reason is Jivita Rupa is one of the most important part of the Rupa because it's the vitality part. So it only merges, it only makes up with 8, joins with 8 inseparables. So there are only 9. Okay, they are Kamadi Rupas. Okay, so the second course where the rūpakalāpas originate is Chitta. So there are 6 Chittaja rūpakalāpas. Chittaja Suddhataka, Kaya Viññati Navaka, Vache Viññati Satta Dasaka, Lahutadi Eka Dasaka, Kaya Viññati Lahutadi Dwadasaka, Vachi Viññati Satta Lahutadi Terasaka. Now, friends, you need to understand Suddhataka, which means the pure octet, appears in all the other causatives. I would say now if you can see Chitta here, and then here you can see in the temperature, you can see again the Suddhatakas in the first rūpakalāpa group. And when it comes to the last one, which we call the nutriment, you can see again Ahara Suddhat. So the pure octet, which means the Suddhataka, appears in all the in the 8 inseparables, Patavi Apo Tejo Vayu, Vanna Gandha Rasa Oja, they appear in all the groups because they are the smallest version of the particles. You can't break them down into further atomic structures, right? Now, I'm talking from the Abhidhamma perspective, not from the physical, modern sciences, okay? So the first rūpakalāpa is Chitta Suddhataka, 8 inseparable Suddhatakas produced by Chitta. Kaya Viññati Navaka means 8 inseparables plus Kaya Viññati. Vachi Viññati Saddha Dasaka means 8 inseparables plus Vachi Viññati and Saddha, because Vachi Viññati cannot arise without Saddha. Lahutadi Eka Dasaka is 8 inseparables of Suddhataka. Lahuta, Muduta, Kamanita. It has 11 Eka Dasaka. Kaya Viññati Lahutadi Dwadasaka means Suddhataka plus Kaya Viññati plus Lahutadi Rupas. So it has 12. Suddhataka has 8, Kaya Viññati 9, Lahutadi Rupas has 3. So 12. Vachi Viññati Saddha Lahutadi Terasaka. It's kind of long, but it has 13 rūpakalāpas. Rupas, because this rūpakalāpa has 13 rupas. Suddhataka means 8 inseparables, Vachi Viññati, Lahutadi Rupas, and Saddha. So they are the Chittaja Rupas, which means rūpakalāpas which originate from Chittas. Moving on to the temperature. So what are the rūpakalāpas which originate from temperature? So temperature could be either hotness or, I wouldn't say either hotness or cold. I would say any quality between heat, hotness to coldness. There are 4 rūpakalāpas, Utuja Suddhataka, 8 inseparables, or the pure octet produced by Suddhataka, produced by Utu. Saddha Navaka is 8 inseparables plus Saddha. Lahutadi Ekadasaka, 8 inseparables plus Lahutadi Rupas. And Saddha Lahutadi Dwadasaka means Suddhataka plus Saddha and Lahutadi Rupas. Okay. Moving on to the final, causative of the rūpakalapas, aharaja rupas. Rūpakalapas originate from nutriment. There are only two rūpakalapas. Aharaja suddhataka, 8 inseparables produced by ahara. Lahutadi ekadasaka, which means 8 inseparables of suddhataka plus lahutadi rupas. Okay, so that's the end of slides. But now I'm going to be talking something very interesting after these, details. Okay, come back to the. Okay, friends. So now you understand what is a rūpa and how many rūpas are there in the Abhidhamma and how many rūpakalapas are there in the Abhidhamma. So you need to have an equal understanding of all these three aspects. What is a rūpa? How many rupas are there and the details, and how many rūpakalapas I would call grouping of rupas can be seen in Abhidhamma, and these information that I'm going to share with you now. Okay. Now, what will happen to us with the rūpakalapas in our normal life? So, when we die, at the end of our life, what happens is kammaja rupas are still continuing, but when the Chuti-Chitta arises, kammaja rūpakalapas are going to be dissolving. So the last kammaja rūpakalapa stop arising after your Chuti-Chitta starts, because there is no space for kammaja rūpakalapa to exist and to stay after the Chuti-Chitta starts. And the chittaja rupas and the aharaja rupas, which means the rūpakalapas which originate from the consciousness and the nutriment, they also stop at the Chuti Chitta. The only rūpakalapa that goes after you die, you already dead, let's say you are dead, but still your utuja rupas exist. In what form? In your corpse, in your dead body, still there is temperature, because you're already gone, right? Because we know that if your body is cremated, I wouldn't say I'm cremated, we know that it could be converted into ashes, right? So the only rūpakalapa that exists after you die is utuja rupa. That's one part of. So what happens with rūpakalapas when it comes to the death? The second thing is, how do we understand rūpakalapas with the rūpavachara and other worlds? So in the rūpavachara world, there are 15 rūpavachara worlds, as you know, in the Sutta Pitaka. We know some of the rupas are not existing in the beings. So, for example, nose, tongue, body, sexuality, and the nutriment do not arise in the beings of rūpavachara world. So if you go to rūpavachara world, you don't see the difference between man and woman. So there is no sexuality you can see in the rūpavachara worlds. There are no female rūpavachara beings. There are no male. Could be, I don't know. I mean, but there is no manifestation of sexuality in the rūpavachara worlds. So they have only 23 rupas, because 5 rupas are not manifest in the beings of rūpavachara worlds. When it comes to opapatika birth, like the birth of many devas, they have 4 kammaja kalapas. They have eye, ear, hadevattu, and jivita rupa. Now, one of the interesting thing is that when it comes to rūpavachara beings, they all have chakku and sota, but not nose, tongue, body, sexuality, and aharaja. I mean, at rebirth, okay? I mean, they will be having all that during the time, but at rebirth, they don't have nose, tongue, body, sexuality, and nutriment. In the same way, when it comes to the situation of an Upapathika being like a Deva, when they are reborn, when somebody is reborn in the Deva worlds, they only have four: eye, ear, Hadevatu, Jivita, Rupa. But as time goes on, passes on, they will be having the rest of the Rupas in a subtle form. Because their bodies are subtle, right? Because we have a very gross body, solid body. Then what happens is that we need to eat a lot of gross food, right? Solid food. But then because both the Rupas, Rupa Avachara world beings and the beings in the heavens, they have very subtle bodies. They don't want to eat solid foods like us. That's why they don't have what do you call nutriment, solid body, tongue, nose, sexuality at the beginning, right? When it comes to Asanya Satta Brahma, right? That's a different. That's a very specific, special Brahma world. We can only see. Suddhatakas, 8 inseparables, Jivitavattu, Akasadhatu, 3 vikaras, and 4 lakkanas on. So they don't have eyes, they don't have a Hadevattu, they don't have a Sattva, they don't have Chitta Kalapas when they are conceived in that Asanisatta Brahma. So they have only 17 Rupas. So, but they have the Suddhataka, because nobody can go away from Suddhataka. Suddhataka means, the 8 inseparables, what we call, in other words, by the pure octad. They have pure octad, Jivitavat, which means life faculty, Akasadhatu means space element, Trivikara means the mutables, things, rupas that are likely to change, and 4 lakkana rupas, the 4 characteristics of any rupa. Now, when it comes to normal beings like us, where do we understand, or when exactly do the Chittaja Rupas start? Because we know we have Patisandhi Chitta once we are born, right? Because Jyoti Chitta is the last thought consciousness when we die, and the rebirth consciousness means the Patisandhi Chitta that we are born with. Once rebirth consciousness starts, and then what happens? The Bhavanga, Atita Bhavanga, Chalana, Upachcheda, and all the rest of the 17 moments, start, stay, and perish. But when we are exactly looking at, the place where the Chittaja rūpakalāpa start is from the second moment, from after the first Bhavanga Chitta, the Chittaja rūpakalāpas start. That means rūpakalāpas that start from, that are born from consciousness appear after the first Bhavanga Chitta. Utuja Rupa also start after the, not after, at the same time of the Patisandhi Chitta, because when you are born with the Patisandhi Chitta, you should have temperature, right? So that's why it is not starting after the first Bhavanga, it is started simultaneously with the Patisandhi Chitta. Okay, so but they all have 17 moments. And last thing. So what are the rūpakalāpas that are manifest across our bodies? Kaya pasada, bhava pasada, chittaja rupa, utuja rupa, ahara rupa. So kaya pasada means sensitive matter of the body. Bhava pasada means our sexuality. If you are a man, then male sexuality. If you are a woman, your female sexuality. Chittaja rupa is rūpakalāpas that are born from consciousness. Utuja rupa means rūpakalāpas born from temperature, and ahara rupa means rūpakalāpas grouping of rupa combinations start from nutriment. These 5 are manifest across our all bodies. Okay, so they are everywhere. Okay, and I think I talked all that I wanted to share with you today about Rupa. So today you learn what is a Rupa. We talked about what is a Rupa. Rupa means, the Rupa has two explanations both in Sutta Pitaka and Abhidhamma. The Sutta Pitaka Rupa normally means your physical, element. But when it comes to Abhidhamma, in Abhidhamma, it says that there are the smallest particles when it comes to Rupa. And Rupas are vulnerable for changes, disturbances, distortions, deformations. And we studied about 28 Rupas, 24 for, the 4 for the Bhuta Mahabhuta Rupas and 24 for the Upadaya Rupas. In other very scholarly classifications, we talked about 18 concretely produced Rupas and the 10 non-concretely produced Rupas. And then we talked about rūpakalāpas, how rūpakalāpas arise, stay, and what are the individual rūpakalāpas that we can see in different, especially these 4 causatives which make rūpakalāpas. Okay, so so thank you so much, and we will be discussing another interesting this topic, in our next Abhidhamma discussion. I'm thinking about Patisandha Chitta or cognitive process Chitta Vidi, but I will think a couple times while to talk. Anyways, until that time, you have a good time, have a safe time. Also, have a good day, have a good night. Take care.